say aloha to your new guitar. This is Everett number 803. I've had a ball building this for you. Thanks so much for ordering this guitar. I'm going to run through it top to bottom and just point out some of the cool features of the guitar. The peg head has the Cheris tuners with the koa wood inserts that you picked out, and they look just great. It has the Cosmo Black Mini Goto 510 tuners. I like the Cosmo because it has more of a, it just looks more elegant than solid black to me. It has a nice, just a nice look. It's a one-piece mahogany neck. It has a Macassar ebony fingerboard with the Everett piano key side position markers. The back is that drop dead killer looking piece of, trying to get some glare out of it so you can see it, piece of Brazilian rosewood. As you know, I went through several sides before I found the right, I had to order several different sides to get the right piece. The original sides that came with this, to my surprise, were cracked, and I just didn't want to use them. So I finally got the perfect set of sides. The color was off just a shade, so my brilliant finisher Tony added a little color to them to get it to match. And boy, that really brought this out. I mean, it's a perfect match. We're not going to tell anybody because no one would know that it didn't. The sides and back didn't come from the same piece of wood. It's the same kind of tree. It's the same kind of wood, but it's not from the same board. But nobody would know. The end pin, I trimmed it out in a little strip back here. I trimmed it out in koa wood to match your tuners on the peg head. The rosette is the Brazilian rosewood that you picked out. It has that very old cedar top. I've had this top, this is the last one of these tops that I have. I've had this, or next to the last one, Tony's guitar also has the same top. But I've had this in my shop for decades. I don't know how old it is, but as you just heard, it does not sound like your typical baritone, bass-heavy cedar top. It just really has that nice crispness to it. It has a nice present bass and a very, very strong mid-range. It's just a wonderful sounding guitar. This is my classical guitar. Well, no, it's not my classical guitar body shape. It's a Ramirez body shape from blueprints I have from a 1903 Ramirez guitar. And I've been using this body shape on my classical guitars and on my C model steel string guitars for many decades. So I just love it. I think it's, how can you improve on it? It's great. It has an even body thickness like a classical guitar. Has a stepped ebony bridge that I like to use these days. Let's see what else. It has a koa wood going up the sides of the ebony fingerboard. It has this cool little sound port that it's my new edition of the sound port. This one's closable sound port. I'm doing a separate little video on this because this is my new design, and so I'll send you a link to that as well. But this will be on a lot of guitars, and I thought a lot of people would benefit from this information, so I did a separate video on it. 25.4 scale neck, 1 3/4 at the nut, 2 1/4 spacing at the bridge. This thing is a ball to play. It plays very easily. It's smooth, even. One of the fun things about my job is I get to play the guitars before they head off to their home, just to check them out. Also, from sitting and playing, I see things that I wouldn't see from a build from the workbench. Playing, actually being a musician and experiencing it, helps me to dial it in even more. So it's not only for fun; it's mostly for fun. But I do make little notes to myself as I'm playing it for the couple of weeks. Now, in North Georgia right now, you can tell because of my clothes, it's cold and it's dry. And I keep my shop, I work to keep my shop at between 45 and 50% humidity. Now, that's not the situation in Hawaii. So, of course, I'll wrap this up and I'll put the case in plastic, and I can put a little humidity thing inside the case before it heads off UPS across the country, across the ocean to get to Hawaii. Give it a couple of 3 days to settle in before you do anything. You can go ahead and play it, say hello to the guitar. Whoa, look at my pretty guitar. But give it a little while to settle in, because it'll come back in to the way it is right now. And right now the action is low. It plays smooth and even, no buzzes. It's loud, present. It's great. And it will be in Hawaii too, but give it a little time to acclimate in the new environment. Now I want to say a couple of things that are going to help you. just not help you, just information you should know. It's when I make the neck, before I shape the neck, the truss rod is in the neck, and I put the neck under truss rod tension and leave it on a shelf for a week before I shape the neck. Now loosen the truss rod tension and shape the neck. And Tony does the finish work, and then when I get the guitar back from Tony, I level the fingerboard, do the fret work, string it up, leave it for 2 weeks. At that time I play it and check out the other little things that I'm, little things I can take care of, and things that I may not notice from just looking at it from on the workbench. So I'll play it for a couple of weeks. That's, like I just mentioned, that's the part of the job I really enjoy. And then I go back and do the final dialing in, the final settling in, and that. And what all that does, all that means is that the neck has settled in. It can look like a neck very quickly. I mean, it goes from being a piece of wood to looking like a neck, but it's not yet. Because of the truss rod tension pulling in one direction and the strings pulling in the other direction, the cells in the wood actually have to get crushed and elongated, and they have to arrest themselves and settle in. And after they've arrested themselves, it's a guitar neck. So I like this. Is one of the beautiful things I can do as a small independent builder. I'm not under a time pressure like the big boys are, and it allows me to work this into my building schedule, is to give time for the neck to settle in. So I tell you all that because by the time it gets to Hawaii, this is a very stable neck, and you won't have any problems with it. So just give it a day or two to settle in. That's really all I need to say. Another thing, one of the unique things I want to mention about your guitar is that when it got hit with finish, not only did Tony do that beautiful coloring, but man, like I say, I can't say enough about how much I like this wood. But the binding also was is a black marbled zirconi wood. And when the finish hit it, it really got a nice little splotched kind of marble natural look to it. And I like to use wood that has a personality like that for the binding instead of just plain ebony, because the ebony really does look like black plastic. I mean, just black lines. I really want something more than that. So it's trimmed in black lines, but it does have a little marbleness to it, and that finish really brought it out. And the same with the top. The top is that very old piece of top I just mentioned. And when it got hit with finish, some personality came out in the top that you couldn't even see before it got under the magnifying glass of finish. It has these big flames in the top. It almost looks like, you can hardly see it. I could hardly get a picture of it. But there you go. You can see some of it there. It has these big, almost like a Les Paul standard with flame, for a flame top Les Paul. It has these flames going across the top. So it's just kind of a neat little extra prettiness that we get on the guitar due to the wonders of Mother Nature. So anyway, I can go on and on about this, but I just wanted to say thank you and give you an opportunity to say aloha to your new guitar.